2.
Would Timpson.
Indeed, Mr Deputy Speaker, and it's a pleasure to speak in today's estimates debate, I think the 5th allotted day. And can I begin by, like other members, just acknowledging the hugely important work done by all those in our FE colleges, those delivering apprenticeships and providing access to adult education, and thanking them for their really significant contribution they make to upskilling our nation in Edinburgh and across the whole country. And for the purposes of my contribution today, Mr Deputy Speaker, I'm going to unashamedly focus on just one in particular. Reasheath College is one of the UK's leading land-based specialist colleges located near Nantwich, Cheshire. And while sitting in my Edinburgh constituency, its very, very close proximity to my previous Crewe and Nantwich constituency means that since 2008, I've been fortunate to be able to develop a close and very constructive working relationship with both the former Principal Meredith David, OBE, and the current Principal Marcus Clinton. Rated good with outstanding features by Ofsted, Reasheath, which has not long since celebrated its centenary, offers full and part-time courses from entry-level to degree level and apprenticeships in all land-based subjects and in sport, and has 1,900 students aged 16 to 18, 360 adult students, 550 apprentices and 130 students with high needs studying at the college. And it's truly world-class facilities, made possible, it has to be said, by significant government funding in recent years, and that I've seen many times for myself, as well as its industry-focused technical courses, help support continued student success, with last year, Mr Deputy Speaker, 97% of students gaining a job or progressing onto an apprenticeship or a degree in their chosen industry. So this is very encouraging indeed. But as we go through a period of rebalancing our academic and vocational offer to students, we must all recognise that the changing labour market and the need to equip our young people with the knowledge and skills subsequent decades will demand. To that end, both I and the College are very supportive of the Government's commitment to an ambition for further education, post-16 skills and apprenticeships, as well as adult education. And in the Minister, my right honourable friend, the member for Harlow, they couldn't have, from maiden speech to ministerial office, a more consistently passionate advocate. So I know, as demonstrated only last week in a meeting with the Vice Principal for Financing and Resource at Reasheath, Graham Levy, with the Minister, that he will continue to listen and seek to act upon some of the issues and concerns raised by colleges that are holding them back from helping achieve that shared ambition, and in some circumstances are putting them at unnecessary risk. And to that end, Mr Deputy Speaker, I'd like to use today's debate to raise two in particular, some which have already been brought to the House's attention by my honourable friend, the Chair of the Education Select Committee. The first is T-levels, technical levels. Since 2019, T-levels have been at the core of the Government's plan to meet the needs of industry and ensure those entering employment have that technical acumen needed to succeed. And Reasheath themselves have embraced T-levels and are delivering a whole range from business and construction to agriculture, food science and animal care. However, in doing so, they found the main risk posed to T-levels is the ability to attract competent technical lecturers to deliver to both T-level and apprentice standards, which I will come on to shortly. There's also a concern about the in-year clawback that has a 10% threshold on T-level numbers, setting it apart from other FE funding which is based on lagged funding, enabling those colleges to react to a downturn in student numbers in a measured way, whereas for the likes of Reasheath, in-year cuts caused by the clawback can be short-sighted and damage capacity that has been developed over many years. With the implementation of lagged funding for T-levels unlikely to happen until post-2025-26, I trust this is something that the Minister is willing to address, and I look forward to his response. T-levels also include a substantial element of work placement, and there is an element of funding to support T-level work placements. However, there's a problem which is currently impacting on colleges. Currently, in fact, all land colleges would be impacted. And that's the Capacity Development Fund, the CDF, that's designed to support the development of the networks, systems and staff that have been withdrawn for the 2023-24 academic year. However, in animal management and equine T-levels, They have been deferred by the awarding bodies to 2024-25 and for animal management and for equine 2025-26, mean there won't be sufficient funding to support the maintenance of these networks, leading to the inevitable prospect of valuable links being lost. Now, I know this was raised with my right honourable friend in our meeting last week, which again I'm grateful for, and he was kind enough to agree to look into it further. But principally, this is a matter that needs to be brought to the attention of Her Majesty's Treasury in the hope that we can avoid losing key courses at this time of transition. It's also the case that while significant capital funding has been made available to support the implementation of T-levels, there is real disappointment that specialist colleges received either no or very little funding in round 4, and moreover, the opportunities that were there to maximise strategic investment may have been lost. The second area I wanted to cover, Mr Deputy Speaker, again as already raised by speakers, is in relation to the funding of colleges and also their staff recruitment and retention. Now, these are becoming the most critical and pressing issues facing not just Reasheath, but many other colleges too. And despite recent uplifts, the base funding rate has fallen behind in real cash terms over the past 10 years, leading to colleges having to reduce non-pay costs, facilities maintenance, and the school sector as the gap grows between schools and FE. Recruitment and retention of staff with the specialist technical knowledge and the experience is their largest concern, but the issue is now affecting all areas of Reasheath, including things like catering and domestic teams. Salary scales are understandably affected by pressures from the minimum wage and general inflationary pressures. The college estimates that a 3% basic cost of living increase would cost them, the college, around £830,000, or if it was 6%, 1.22 million. So as much as they would want it to, a sector grant increase would clearly not cover this. So in order to match and compete in salaries, Reasheath suggests that it would require £3 million at least. That is simply not there. So as a consequence, salaries the college can offer are understandably limited to the income that they themselves receive. And in particular, Mr Deputy Speaker, despite engineering being a critical area for the college and the country, Reasheath are finding it extremely difficult to attract and retrain technically competent engineering lecturers, especially in agricultural engineering. They're working hard with employers and their federations to explore how employers, including major players like JCB, can support the delivery of the apprentices in particular, but unfortunately the current subcontracting rules are not flexible enough to support this, an issue I know my right honourable friend is cognizant of. Now, the college are currently working with the SFA to try and find a quick and acceptable solution, but the reality is they will have to mothball the Year 1 apprentices in agricultural engineering if a solution can't be found very soon. This all has a significant impact on the employers and future engineers to support the bounce back. With the additional issue of an ageing workforce in engineering more generally, there is, as the Vice Principal Graham Lavery has told us, a perfect storm brewing. So I would ask the Minister, in the continuation of his personal mission to make specialist land-based colleges the cornerstone of our technical revolution, to first of all come and visit Reasheath College, that goes without saying, but also to intervene where necessary to address these, I think, legitimate and well-intentioned concerns with his customary gusto, pragmatism and relentlessness. I'll give way to Arnold.
I'm very grateful to my honourable friend for giving way. He's making a passionate speech, really focusing on key land-based educational issues, mentioning courses like agricultural engineering, animal handling, equine studies. Does he agree with me that we need a flexibility of approach so that these specialist courses that are so important for animal health and welfare, for the agricultural industry, for food security moving forward, that they need to be protected and preserved moving forwards?
Well, it comes as no surprise to me that my honourable friend is absolutely right. He knows a lot about this area himself with his own veterinary background. And he will know that that flexibility allows us to shape what the current demand is that we place on our land, but also the skills are going to be required to work that land as some of the technology changes around it. And the Reasheath are at the forefront of much of that, but they want to continue to do it in the future. And I think that's where the strategy of the government has to have that level of flex to compensate for some of these changes during the transition that don't always take into account some of the nuances that we see in places like Reasheath and elsewhere across the country. So, Mr Deputy Speaker, we need to make sure that the strategic vision becomes a reality, because after all it's places like Reasheath that have for the last century been the embodiment of that ladder of opportunity my right honourable friend has championed for so long, and can be with the right support for the next.